Ladies and gentlemen, the time is 12 noon. have been informed that the quorum for the meeting has been formed. Kindly be upstanding for the national anthem. I propose calling the 58th Annual General Meeting to order. But I think as it's in our culture, I would like us to start with an opening prayer. If I'm not being forward, I would like to ask our father, Chief Daranijo, to please give us an opening prayer.
We thank you, Lord, for assembling here today to hold the AGM of Academy Press Nigeria Limited, PLC. Whatever we are going to discuss here today, may Allah bless it. We have the blessing of Allah. Thank you very much. Fatiha. Amin. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Sallu ala Nabi Kareem. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for this spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are three issues I would like to bring up to your attention. First, I would ask that anyone who wishes to ask questions or propose or second motions should do so by means of the microphone that will be given to you. When the microphone is handed over to you, then begin by stating your name before continuing with what you wish to state. Lastly, I wish to introduce you to the people who are with me and what they do. On my left platform, we have representatives of the auditors and members of the audit committee to assist when and where necessary. The representatives of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Securities and Exchange Commission, and the registrars, Pace Registrars Limited, previously Sterling Registrars Limited, are also here with us, and they are on the right lower platform. Starting from my immediate right is Mr. Olugbenga Ladipo, the Managing Director of the company. Next to Mr. Olugbenga Ladipo is Mrs. F.B. Omoebo, the Director of the company. I will now take my left On my left is Mr. P.O. Afolabi, representing Alpha Genasec Limited. Next to him is Chief Wole Olaoye, a director of the company. And lastly, on my left is Mr. Paul Aderibigwe, an executive director of the company. Mr. David Pritchard, a director of the company, is also with us from the UK on Zoom platform. And lastly, Mr. Femi Akingbe, a director of the company, is also with us on Zoom platform. I must also advise that the Register of Directors' Shareholdings is available for inspection on the front table until the end of the meeting, in accordance with the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. I now call upon the Secretary to read the notice convening the meeting.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors, regulatory authorities here present, distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you this 22nd day of September 2022 the notice convening the year 2022 annual general meeting of your company, Academy Press PLC. The notice is contained in page 3 of the financial report earlier circulated, and I read the notice. Notice is hereby given that the 58th annual general meeting of Academy Press, the company PSU, will be held at the registered office of the company, 28/32 Industrial Avenue, Ilupeju Industrial Estate, Lagos, on Thursday, 22nd September 2022 at 12 noon for the purpose of transacting the following businesses. Agenda 1, to lay before the meeting the report of the directors, the financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2022, and the report of the auditors and the audit committee thereon. 2, to declare dividend. 3, to re-elect Chief Oyewole Olaoye and Mr. David Pritchard as directors. Item 4, to authorize the directors to fix the auditor's remuneration. 5, to elect members of the audit committee. Item 6, to disclose the remuneration of managers of the company in compliance with section 257 of CAMA 2020. Special business. 7, increase in share capital. 8, to approve bonus issue. 9, to approve the remuneration of directors. Notes. 1, compliance with COVID-19 related directives and guidelines. In view of the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic, the containment measure and the guidelines put in place by the federal government, Lagos State government, health authorities and regulatory agencies, particularly the Lagos State government's prohibition of gathering of more than 50 people, and the Corporate Affairs Commission issued guidelines on holding AGM of public companies by proxy. The convening and conduct of the AGM shall be done strictly in compliance with these directives and guidelines. 2, proxy. A member of the company entitled to attend and vote at the annual general meeting is also entitled to appoint a proxy to attend and vote in his or her stead. A proxy need not be a member of the company. For the appointment to be valid, a duly executed and stamped proxy form must be deposited at the office of the registrar, Pace Registrars Limited, 24 Campbell Street, 8th floor, Knight Frank Building, Lagos, or office of the company at 28/32 Ilupeju Industrial Avenue, Ilupeju, Lagos, not less than 48 hours before the time for holding the meeting. Stamping of proxy. The company has made arrangements at its cost for the stamping of the duly completed and signed proxy forms submitted to the company's registrars within the stipulated time. 4, attendance by proxy. In line with CAC guidelines, attendance of the AGM shall be by proxy only. Shareholders are required to appoint a proxy of their choice from the list of nominated proxies below. A, Mr. W.B. Dabiri, the chairman. B, Mr. Ola Dikpo, the managing director. C, Alhaji S.B. Daranijo. D, Mr. Samuel A. Adedoyin. Registered office is at 28/32 Industrial Avenue, Ilupeju Industrial Estate, Ilupeju, Lagos. 5, dividend. If the dividend of 10 kobo recommended by the directors is approved by the shareholders at the AGM, dividend will be paid on Thursday, 29 September 2022 to shareholders whose names appear in the company's register of members at the close of business on Friday, 16 September 2022. Broadcast of the AGM. The AGM will be recorded and broadcast online. Enable shareholders and other stakeholders who will not be attending physically to view the proceedings. The link for the AGM broadcast will be made available on the company's website at www.academypress-plc.com. 7, closure of register and transfer books. The register of members and transfer books will be closed from Monday 19th to Friday 23rd September 2022, both days inclusive, for the purpose of updating the register. 8th, audit committee. In consonance with section 404(6) of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, a nomination in writing by any member of a shareholder for election to the audit committee should reach the company secretary at least 21 days before the annual general meeting. Rights of securities holders to ask questions. Security holders have a right to ask questions not only at the meeting, but also in writing prior to the meeting. Such question must be submitted to the company on or before 15 September 2022 by order of the board for Alpha Genesec Limited. Secretaries, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Afolabi. We proceed. The chairman's statement, which has been circulated together with the annual report and financial statements, is on pages 8 and 9 of the report. Do I read the said statement to you all, or should it be taken as read? Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2022, which have already been circulated, are now being laid before the meeting, together with the reports of the directors, the audit committee, and the auditors. May I now ask a representative of the external auditors to read the report of the auditors to members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Funmi Ogunlowo. I'm representing the firm of Ernst & Young. the external auditors. Mr. Chairman, distinguished shareholders, may I ask for your permission to read a summarized report of the independent auditors. The report is on page 27 of the financial statements. I read. Report of the independent auditors to the members of Academy Press PLC. Report on the audit of the financial statements. Opinion. We have audited the consolidated and separate financial statements of Academy Press PLC, the company, and its subsidiaries, together the group, which comprise the consolidated and separate statements of financial position as at 31st March 2022, the consolidated and separate statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, the consolidated and separate statement of changes in equity, and the consolidated and separate statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and notes to the consolidated and separate financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. In our opinion, the consolidated and separate financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of Academy Press PLC and its subsidiaries as at 31st March 2022, and their financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS, EU by the International Accounting Standards Board, and the relevant provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and the requirements of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act number 6 of 2011. Basis for opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with international standards on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the consolidated and separate financial statements sections of our report. We are independent of the group and the company in accordance with International Ethics Standards Board for Accountants Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, IESBA Code, and other independence requirements applicable to performing the audit of Academy Press PLC. We have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the ISBA Code and in accordance with other ethical requirements applicable to performing the audit of Academy Press PLC. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Key audit matters. Key audit matters are those matters that, in our professional judgments, were of most significance in our audit of the consolidated and separate financial statements of the current period. These matters were addressed in the context of our audit of the consolidated and separate financial statement as a whole, and informing our opinion thereon. And we do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. For each matter below, our description of how our audit addressed the matter is provided in that context. I will proceed to the final page now. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. In accordance with the requirement of the 5th schedule of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, we confirm that, 1, we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. 2, in our opinion, proper books of account have been kept by the group and the company insofar as it appears from our examination of those books. 3, the group and the company's consolidated and separate statement of financial position and consolidated and separate statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts. And 4, in our opinion, the consolidated and separate financial statements have been prepared in accordance with the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 so as to give a true and fair view of the state of affairs and financial performance of the company and its subsidiaries. Signed by Funmi Ogunlowo, FCA, on behalf of Ernst & Young, Lagos, Nigeria, and dated 1st of July, 2022. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ogunlowo. Now, may I call on the chairman of the audit committee to read the report of the committee. Alaji.
Mr. Chairman, sir, member of the board of Academy Press, gentlemen and fellow shareholders. Report of the audit committee for the year ended 31st of March 2022 to the shareholders of Academy Press PLC. In accordance with the provisions of Section 4041 and the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the members of the audit committee of Academy Press PLC, the company hereby report as follows. 1. We have exercised our statutory functions under Section 4047 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and acknowledge the cooperation of the management and staff in the conduct of these responsibilities. We are of the opinion that the accounting and reporting policies of the group are in accordance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practices, and that the scope and planning of both the external and internal audits of the year ended 31st of March 2022 was statutory and reinforced the group's internal control systems. We have deliberated with the external auditors. We have confirmed that necessary cooperation was received from the management in the course of their statutory audit, and we are satisfied with management's report to the external auditors' recommendations on accounting and internal control matters, and with the effectiveness of the group system of accounting and internal control. Signed, Alaji Chief B. Daranijo, Justice of Peace, Audit Committee Chairman, so. Members of the Audit Committee, therefore, Alaji S. B. Daranijo, Oba Ajadi, Olanrewaju, Mr. Samuel Adedoyin, Mr. Fola Chade Omoyebo, and Mr. Igbe. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Item number 1 on the agenda is to lay before the meeting the reports of the directors, auditors and audit committee, and the audited financial statements for the year ended 31st March 2022. I shall be pleased to deal with any questions from members of the report and financial statements. Yes, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is Olawi Tajuddin, a shareholder, representative of the Lagos Shareholder Association of Nigeria. Mr. Chairman, sir, I want to first start from you, appreciate the board for the fantastic and effort put in place to have this AGM. Secondly, despite the fact that the economy is dwindling, everybody were trying to swim above the sea, Academy Press still, with all the economic challenges, still swim above the sea. Congratulations, Mr. Chairman. Not only on the chairman, I know the board will not achieve what I've achieved without the management. The MD, I want to congratulate the MD too for the support given to the board. Because if the board gives a policy and it's not well implemented by the management, we won't get the result of having this morning. So secondly, I want to congratulate the management for the effort in place to achieve the result of today. And lastly, I want to congratulate our representatives on the shareholders on the board of the Academy Press for the brilliant and intelligent job put in place to supervise and see that we have a very fantabulous account this morning. My co-shareholders, we are thankful for giving us this opportunity and for bringing Academy Press back to life. Why am I saying this? For the past decades now, Academy Press neither give bonuses nor dividends. But here we come today. Despite the fact the Chinese we have all over the country, they still come around and say, okay, my shareholders, the owner of the company, take this token as a parting gift for you for this accounting year. We congratulate you and thank you for this effort. Likewise, on the accounts, I just want to implore the management and the board to keep on what they are doing. Why am I saying this? I was here on Tuesday to meet one of your management staff. In fact, the reception the man gave to me, in fact, is fantastic. So I want to, appreciate him on the floor of the AGM that he should please keep it up. Academy Press is a shareholder-friendly company. I want the company to keep it up. Also, Academy Press is a friendly company to the outsiders. Why am I saying this? If a place like Shomolu, we all know Shomolu, where we have a lot of printing press. One of my friends, I was in a vehicle going, and I said, after where you come, I'm coming from Academy Press. Now I saw the annual report, said, this is our company. If a printer can recognize Academy Press, a round of applause for Academy Press, please. A round of applause for Academy Press. If a company of this, of Academy Press can be recognized at Shomolu, which means we are doing a perfect job. Which means maybe they have tried out of the pirates your printing procedures for the code. I said, this is our company. So we want to say you should keep it up. For somebody of that nature, commending your company, I think you deserve that kudos. Come to the reports. I've gone through the reports, tried to flood the report, but unfortunately, I couldn't see anymore. Because the reason why is that the management and the board, they have tried to put in very extra efforts that if any shareholder comes up today, they will be praising the net of the AGM. So on this note, I want to also appreciate the board because I look at the corporate governance, the meetings I've had during the financial year. It is like all the directors and managers, it's like there are some managers that, no, we won't miss any meeting. You can look at it, every directors, every shareholder representing us on the board, we were present throughout all the meetings you have for the year. So please keep it up. It's a good comment for you. Then secondly, on our revenue, I look at the account, I found that it's like year in, year out, we are putting effort in actualizing that our bottom line is fat. And that is being felt in the revenue. Because revenue for last year surpassed, our revenue this year surpassed that of last year. Maybe that's the reason why are giving us, the bonus are giving us today, and the dividends are giving us today. So the board and the management, please keep it up, and our representatives and shareholders. On the donations, the academic press know the importance of us plying a free and fair road. I know that you have made donation to FRC. I just want to observe that. Let us stop on FRC alone. You cannot, in those days, when we were still young, we do organize book fair. Days when the universities like OAU, Ibadan, and the rest of them, Lagos, are still very active. You know the way to always, putting up a book fair where we want that we don't have money to buy books. We come and buy books at very cheap price, textbooks, notebooks, and so I just want the company to look at that area. If I related to FRC for us find a very safety route, let us put something on the book fair so that at least the upcoming children will still be feeling what we felt in those days. Then secondly is on the issue of the penalties. I read to the penalties that the chairman have make some one or two inputs on. I thought maybe the man will be telling us as shareholders, please, maybe by this or by that, SEC or whatever penalize us. But fortunately, it's not like that. It's a penalty levied on the customer that will default. In fact, the chairman, sir, he round of applause for you, sir. So which means if you have to deal with academic press, you must come with a clean and clear mind. So if you are dubious, automatically you scot free because there is a gate there that will hang you up that says, Mr. Man, you are not going out. You have defaulted in this way and defaulted in that way, so you have to pay for it. So, Mr. Chairman, I thank you for this and I congratulate you for this. Then on the staff welfareism, you see, they said if you are putting off a number of years in the service, that you must have a very lively life to live after your service. For putting up a pension scheme for the staff, I want to appreciate that also. Because this is what is missing in the government setting. You know the way they are playing around with our money. But in your own side, you believe that no. If somebody have put in a number of years of service in the company, you must rest and enjoy what I've put in as your effort in the company. So, Mr. Chairman, we appreciate you for this. Then on the geographical benefits, I've looked at the reports. You are comparing us with Nigeria. We split into two. You have the south, where the north. Then we have this South Africa, whatever. So I just want you to look at the north. I know the north is very volatile now. Issue of Boko Haram, the bandits, or whatever they're having. But despite the fact that we still need to do one or two things in that area. Because, like our father have said, Paul always said, a child that you fail to educate now is going to what, disturb or, make life miserable for your children that we are educating. So I just want the academic person to see what they can do in that arena. Because when I look at the geographical benefits, it's like that area that not benefit at all from academics. Maybe that's the reason why the academics is very low in that area. So, Mr. Chairman, sir, please let us do what we can do in that area, at least to assist the less privileged or those that are having the willingness of reading in that geographical side of the country. Now look at your production also. You have done a very fantabulous in your production, except for calendar. Maybe by the time you responded to this, we know the reason why you are no more going for calendar. Because I know in those days, when my father was working with University of Lagos, what he always appreciating bringing up for us is the calendar. Because that's where we were. We're checking the days of the months, of the week, and then the rest like that. But I don't know the reason why our production in calendar is so low that it cannot match up with the days of diary, books, and others. Maybe by the time we respond to this, we're able to get the fullness of what is happening to calendar. Because calendar is not bringing forth expected revenue to the company. Lastly, on the administrative expenses, we have tried to see what you can do on the expenses, but I think there are some things we need to do on that for us. Let me open this page 64. So if you look at our admin page 64, well, the travel expenses increases. Maybe, I don't know, maybe because of the hike in aviation fuel, or maybe the hike in the product that leads to this. But let's see what we can do in that area. Travel expenses. Yes, travel expenses. Then on our audit fee also, the margin is a little bit our external auditors, we want to appeal to you that our next financial year, if you don't keep to this figure, please reduce the figure. Our external auditors. Yes, we are appealing to them because because the company is making money now, they are making profit now. That was as a just which we are putting up our audit fee. We want to appeal to you, the external auditors, to please, you either keep this figure or you reduce it for us so that at least both of us will be able to tangle together. And having living that, on the issue of our finance cost, Mr. Chairman, you have tried a lot of seeing that our finance cost is not too much. And this is the area that the country itself is having a problem. Because I'm listening to news this morning that our president is appealing to the UN that we should please give us a debt relief, which they have done for us about 20-something years ago. So for you to have, reduce our finance costs, at least you deserve an applaud for this. So please give it up and let us see how this can be maintained. At least in the nearest future, our finance cost won't increase more than necessary. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to congratulate the management, the board, and the audit committee on the board for the job well done. And we're giving us this result. We're giving us bonus for the year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments? Questions? Yes, please.
Good afternoon, the chairman of the board and the board member. My name is Peter Odusonya. I'm a shareholder of this company. I just want to commend you that the chairman of the board, I listened to the AGM of last year on YouTube. I remember there was a woman who begged and pleaded that we should consider declaring dividend this year, and you promised her that it will be considered. Thank you for keeping to your word. I want to commend the board, just like my fellow shareholder has also commended you for this impressive performance, not only declaring dividend but also declaring bonus. So what impresses me most is your revenue that went up by 145%. So my question now is, what effort are you going to take to sustain this revenue and also improve upon it? Because it is the increase in this revenue that brought about the positive profit after tax, and then that brought about the dividend and the bonus share. So what effort is the board making to maintain and even improve on this revenue? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think I can take these questions, these comments, and address them to the satisfaction of the shareholders. I think the first comment was on donations. We note the comment, and we assure shareholders that we'll continue to improve on this, as we go forward. We note the book fair that used to be before, and we'll look at that. On geographical spread, again, that is a fact that before we used to have quite a few clients in the northern part of the country, but I think the speaker also helped me to answer it by saying things are not easy also in that area of the country now. But to be a bit specific or detailed, we used to have a rep, there who were doing our best to replace. So once we replace that rep, we're sure figures there will also show significant contribution. On calendars, we print for customers. So if customers, I mean, we market them to do their calendars, but if customers no longer emphasize, you know, calendars and demand for it, we just don't have the job. It's not because we didn't try. We did try. But you know, these days, everybody, even diaries, they use their, what do you call it, their phones to handle that business. So people aren't spending that much money on calendars anymore. But we still put it among our product list because we still market for it. And some people still, you know, support us. But both for ourselves and our customers, the last few years have been challenging. And so when things are tough, people see what they can cut off, and that's why we're having that there. Again, on costs, especially traveling costs, we do our best to control them. The most challenging cost these days, I'm sure everybody appreciates that, is diesel. And as a printer, you cannot depend on the discos to supply your needs, because if you are in the middle of a printing run, it will be disaster if they took light all of a sudden. So we tend to depend for major jobs on generators, and the diesel costs are high. And then, like you said, traveling costs in terms of even getting from here to Abuja, you know, has gone up, not to talk of fueling cars. But we shall continue to control our costs as much as we can. Audit fees, what I would say is most unlikely, you know, the audit fee will go down. But we appreciate our auditors because the increase, you know, between, or even there was no increase between last year and this year. So we appreciate them for, you know, being reasonable. And I'm sure they want to work with us, we want to work with them. So we always agree on something that makes, you know, sense. Finance costs, yes, as much as we can generate cash, then we don't need finance for anything, or we can control the amount of finance, you know, we require. So we shall continue to work on that, because as you know, interest rates have gone up again, and we don't want to borrow for what we don't really, you know, require. On the sustainability and improvement of our performance, we thank the Almighty for being able to come before you with very improved, you know, performance. And we assure you that we are putting heads together as to how to sustain this over the next several, you know, years. If you read my reports of the last 2 years, I've spoken about our diversification efforts, looking for related businesses and other sources of revenue. During this year, we shall finish 2 of our diversification projects. For the main one, light packaging, we're still working on the proper, you know, financing of this endeavor. But I can tell you with all certainty that as far as the half year is concerned, we're matching, if not surpassing, what we did last year. So we are going to make sure we continue to improve and be sure that we don't go back to the old days where we cannot pay dividends. So I guess I've attended to all the questions that were raised. You have comments you want to make? Questions? Okay, no problem. Just make it, because we spend time on it. Just straight to the point.
Okay, I will try to be brief. I hope I won't repeat existing question. Sorry for coming late. And let me quickly page 100. I don't know if somebody has talked about
name, please. Name, please.
The directors.
Sorry, name, please.
Oh, please now. The name is, let me change that. That's Prince Dr. Anthony Omoni Omojola. On page 100, I want to talk about our directors. We have 7 directors, 2 executive, and 5 non-executive. CAMA requires that we have 3 independent non-executive directors now. So I'm just thinking there is need for designation of at least one of the non-executive to be independent director. And if we have 3 EDs, because the nature of our services, I think it will be better for us, the MD, the helm of affairs, one in charge of finance and admin, and one for publishing and probably over sales. That will be 3. And then I would say next to, there's need to appoint 2 more, because of the position we are now, from 7 and move to 9. So if one of it is executive, the other one will be non-executive director or independent non-executive director. That's on that side. On page 98, is indices recorded in the year 2020. All the board and management should please keep up the momentum, and of course map out the strategies to be able to sustain it. I heard the chairman saying sustainable when I was coming in. Maybe somebody has said something in that area. Yeah, I'm moving anti-clockwise. 96. Under the value addition, sir, value added application. Okay, but we can improve earnings. The retained part of the application should be improved upon, and of course, the expected growth of the company, and this will enhance future returns. I'm trying to make it brief. Okay, on page 85, I have just, because we are all looking for a job too, because there's large level of unemployment in the market, consultants are looking for jobs. So I work for some consultants. Under here, that's note 25.2. I finders fee. The question is, how does the funders process work? That is, how do people come in and have benefit from doing some value addition, giving some value addition service to the company? And coming towards the end of my submission on page 82, actually merging 82 plus 75. When I look at the level of inventory write-down, sir, inventory write-down. So in a situation where we have 50% of the expected credit losses, 50% of the receivable, I think this one is very high, or it's too high. So what can we do? Because I can see that the impairment on that page 82 has taken a huge sum of 272.3 million out of our receivable of 5. Thank you. Out of the receivable of 500 and something there, I don't know the exact figure. So I'm saying we should look inward. And I'm sure too that the auditors, as part of the key audit matter, did mention something about it. So I don't know what the management is doing to arrest that area. And on page 81, sir, I look at our gearing ratio. Gearing ratio that is over 80%, I think is very, very, well, I would say it's too much. I don't know what strategy the board and management are looking to be able to address that, but we cannot maintain that level. Having said that, sir, I want to believe they will have touched other areas so that I don't duplicate. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Once again, Dr. Evangelist Prince Anthony Omoni Omojola, National Coordinator, Independent Shareholder Association of Nigeria.
Chairman, sir. Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Chairman. Sit down for lady. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. The members of the board and my fellow shareholder and those people watching us online. I had a disturb of delay. That's why I came late. Sir, on this board, when I look at the board, we are about 7. My name is Mrs. C.O. Obide, National Coordinator of Ark of God Shareholder Association Incorporated. When I saw this board, I said, the men on the board, they will quickly have gray hair because we have one female on the board. You will be thinking, but when we have 35% at least, that's the new law. You won't quickly have a great hair. Look at our chairman, he's having some at this right hand. So let's, please, sir, I want this board, maybe they should increase on the board. It's necessary. I have about 8 points, but I'll do 3. I'll do 3, don't worry. Don't be scared. Page 19. I really appreciate this board. We have 2 fiscal challenges. When a person is working in an organization, is feeding 10 people in the family. And for our company to allow 2 of our staff fiscal challenge, you have helped 20 people in each family for that. The corporate governor. The first thing I always like to look is corporate governor. It's excellent. It's 100%. Because if you look at that, that's page 22. That is when you know when a company is serious. Because they've attended the meeting. Way forward, it will show. What the company look like will show. Earlier this year, when I saw our price in the capital market, I called MD. What is happening? He said, I know something. For us, last year before, we discussed, and you really impressed me. You really impressed me and impressed other shareholders. My member said I should say a big thank you, because the price in the market shows you really work very, very hard, and God will grace your effort in Jesus' name. The key audit matters. Talk to the advice of external auditor. It's very important in a company. It's very important. And I believe as our price is rising in the market, our dividend will also rise. Sir, let's take, you are taking to advice, you are taking. These are one of the company I love so much. When you advise them, even if they don't talk, it shows in their behavior. God will bless you and bless your family in Jesus' name. The other, I reserve it for the future reference. Thank you.
Chairman, sir, thank you very much. I'll be very brief, just 1 or 2 points.
so that I can close early. The name is Pastor Abayomi Adebayo, the National Coordinator for Passionate Shareholders Association Incorporated. From what I saw in the other reports, I want to say that this meeting should be a celebration meeting. Because as far as I'm concerned, the result is an excellent result. Just because of those things that I can see in the agenda, the notice of meeting. One, I can see that the company is paying us 10 kobo dividend. And not just 10 kobo dividend, they are also giving us 1-for-1 bonus. I think we deserve to clap for you for this. This is very good. So I'm personally appreciating you for this on behalf of myself and all shareholders. Chairman, I look at the mission statement and I saw something that drew my attention. The mission statement says to maintain a first-class printing outfit that is committed to high-quality service with prompt delivery to giving customer satisfaction and an optimum return to stakeholders. What I'm interested in this is that the phrase that says with prompt delivery to customers, prompt delivery. And I think in printing, that's one of the most important things. When job is being given, there will be a deadline for the job to be delivered. If we can try to maintain this at all times, I think it will go a long way to help us to be prompt in delivering whatever job that is being given to us. And I also look at the notice where the date of payment of dividend is being stated. I think if we are paying 10 kobo dividend and it's been approved today, and we said payment will not be made until next week, Thursday or so. I think we should look at that for the future. I think that 1 week gap is too much. Let's look at it. And one other thing I just want to mention, Chairman, and this has been a concern for me, because I look at this company. One, I want to ask, sir, we're in the rainy season now. I'm a long-term shareholder of this company. I remember some years back when we come for a meeting here, and I want to appreciate you and commend you for your wisdom to be holding your meeting here instead of going to waste our money to rent a hotel or invest centers. It's very acceptable to hold our meetings here. Some years ago, we had our meeting outside there during the rainy season like this. The rain actually disturbed us so much that day. We couldn't start the AGM on time. So what has been the situation now, since we are now in rainy season? Hope you have not been so much disturbed with the rain. And what are the things you have put in place so that this rain will not continue disturbing us? And I want to also encourage Chairman that we are located in a very strategic location here. This is Industrial Avenue. We have so many big companies around us as our neighbors, and we're into printing. I'm encouraging us to please build a good relationship and rapport with them. If we are having all the necessary equipment, out of the standard equipment that can meet all their printing needs, I don't know why they won't patronize us. We have Nestle beside us, we have GSK, we have PZ, we have Bico, and many of them. Please, let's try to reach out to them. Let's build relations with them. I don't expect them to take their printing jobs elsewhere if we are their neighbors here. So I'm encouraging us to please work on this. And God bless our company. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll quickly touch on all these issues that have been raised. I hope satisfactory. On sustainability, like you said, you walked in when I was elaborating on that. What we can say at this point in time is that we're working hard to make sure that after the drought of not giving you any serious returns, now that we have come back to giving you, we are not likely to slide back in the next few years. We can see that, and we assure you, this is Nigeria, anything can happen. But as far as we are concerned right now, we'll be able to sustain this year's performance and even improve on it. There was a question on retaining reserves. You will see that that is what we've tried to do. We could have paid more, but we want to start with something sustainable. If we pay too much, we wouldn't have reserves. And having a bit more reserves help us to also manage our financial costs. On finder's fees, what I'll say on this is that, Doctor, you are not listening. No, you asked the question. On finder's fees, what I would say is that by the nature of our business, we can't market everywhere. So there are some people who are like agents, so to speak, who move around and they can get jobs. And when they get jobs, we agree on their remuneration. We do not pay them, it's work and eat. So if you get us a job, we will recognize your contribution. So we manage it properly. But we too have our marketing team, and they are out there on the field. In terms of expected credit losses, what I would just say on that, and obviously the auditors touched on it, and that's why they made it an audit matter, is that yes, we've got to monitor that and make sure we don't have any significant losses. We try to take money ahead, from customers. We usually don't give credit except to few customers. And when those customers, we get their job just before the end of our year end, it's going to be outstanding as receivable. And then after the year end, they pay us and it goes down. So this was, because it's a balance sheet or statement of financial position, this was at a snapshot in time. Those that are giving us trouble, we are working on them, and we're trying to get them down. So I don't expect that credit loss to continue to increase. It should be going up and down. The question on gearing ratio, I would say, is noted. That's an observation. But as we continue to build our reserves again, obviously that would reduce. In terms of directors, we do have an independent director. Unfortunately, we didn't reflect it that. Yeah, but we'll separate and put independent directors there. But we note your advice on executive director, but you will notice that for many years we were flat, so we couldn't be adding to executive directors at that time. But as our business grows, as we go into a major project, the light packaging, then we would need to support management at that level. Female director, oh yes, we discussed this because we know what the regulation is and what makes sense. Anyway, we used to have another female on the board, but she left. But yes, it's something we're working. We're working very hard on it, and we need more directors also, because as the business is expanding, we need to share the jobs in the committees round so that everybody can contribute. So, those are points that we too are spending time thinking of. The share price, obviously the stock exchange is supposed to reflect, the activities of a company and people's expectations of the future. We too are pleased with the share price. We didn't know it would go that high, but all the things we're doing, if we can sustain our dividends, we can sustain our profitability, I think the price will continue to go up so that our shareholders will continue to enjoy both dividends and share appreciation. Payment date for dividend, I would say that yes, that was our target, that we must do it within a week maximum. But I can assure you, you will get it before that date. We've made provisions for it. and the registrars should get it by tomorrow, and any day from that time, you will get it. So no problem. Preparation for rain at AGM, we always monitor this. And whatever must have happened during that previous time, we'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Neighbors and their support for our business, two things. One, we do have business from them. If we gave you our list of clients, even the one you mentioned is a regular client every year. But we must know that technology has hit us hard. Before annual reports for companies, we will print 200,000. Now you'll be lucky if you print 10,000 because all of them have gone online. So that has affected us. But you won't notice because we're diversifying. We're doing so many other things that, fill up that gap. So I guess I've touched on all the ones I noted here. But I can assure you, your company is in a good place right now, and we'll do our best to make sure we sustain the performance. Thank you very much. Okay. So moving forward, you will see that item 2 on the agenda is to declare a dividend. Your board has recommended the payment of 10 kobo per share held in the company. I'd like to formally move the following resolution, that a dividend of 10 kobo per share amounting to 60,480,000 subject to appropriate withholding tax, be and is hereby authorized for payment to shareholders in respect of the financial statement for the year ended 31st March 2022. May I have a seconder to this motion, please? Yeah? Okay.
I write to second the motion.
Name,
Oladiran Ismail Jimokuku.
Oladiran Ismail. Oh, Niran, okay, Ismail. All those who are in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hands. Those who are against the motion, please signify by raising your right hands. Well, I hereby declare the result as carried. Thank you. The next item, yes, please.
We are COVID minded, and
Yes.
the way we are doing normal meeting is different. When you finish that, the registrar, those people that did prosy, they will count them with those people that are here. So they will give us the result so that the regulator will not charge us. We don't have much, so we should not give our people, we call them our people, money, because they will laugh with you now. Oh. By the time you see them, they will just give you bill. So our registrar, please come out and tell us the procedure. You know, we are our lecturer.
Thank you very much, madam.
Good afternoon, Chairman, and good afternoon, the board. Actually, as she said, some people have completed prosy, either in support or against. And I also have some people here that did not complete their prosy, so they have to vote physically. That is why we give them a device to vote. So, hello. Probably you have completed a prosy form. I said probably you have completed a prosy form before today. So if you are in support of the motion to declare dividend of 10 kobo, you press 1. If you are against the motion, you press 2. Hello, sir. I said that if you are in support, press 1. Yes, sir. If you are against, press 2. Voting commence. You just vote.
Ah.
We have 10 seconds to go. Here's the result for the voting to declare dividend.
Okay.
So the chairman can announce the result, sir.
So after that slight detour, I declare the motion carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 3 on the agenda is to re-elect as directors Chief Wole Olaoye and Mr. David Pritchard, who retire by rotation in accordance with Section 2851 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. The 2 retiring directors are eligible for reappointment. In accordance with Section 2731 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, may I ask a shareholder to move the following: that Chief Wole Olaoye, who retires in accordance with Section 2731 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, being eligible for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. Yes, madam. Eh? Oh, yes. Mr. Olaoye is here. Mr. Pritchard is in the UK, but he's with us on Zoom. Yes. That's his picture on the screen there. Okay.
I second the motion. My name is Mrs. Yu Obide.
Okay. No, you move.
Oh, sorry. I move. I move the motion.
Okay.
Mrs. Yu Obide.
Seconder.
Thank you, sir. Pastor Abayomi Adebayo, I second the motion. Thank you.
Okay. So we
voting.
vote again.
Okay, sir. So if you are for Chief Oyewole Olaoye, you press 1. If you are in support, if you are against, you press 2. Voting commence. If you are for, you press 1. If you are against, you press 2.
Sorry.
Ten seconds. Seven seconds to go. 5, 4, 2, 1. Voting ended. Kindly display the result, please. That's the result, sir.
100%. So, I declare the motion carried. In accordance with Section 2731 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, may I ask a shareholder to move the following motion: that Mr. David Pritchard, who retires in accordance with Section 2731 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, being eligible for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected Director of the company. Yes, his picture is on the screen. Yes, please. Okay. Setajuddin moves.
Mr. Lawitajuddin, so moved.
Okay. Who seconds?
Peter Odusoya, I second the motion.
Mr. Odusoya. Okay. So
You
we
need to
now
vote.
vote again.
Yes, sir, we need to vote. So if you are for Mr. David, you press 1. If you are against, you press 2. Voting commence. You can start voting now. A shareholder is not voting. I think I have 4 devices. Okay, done. Ten seconds to go. 8, 5, 4, 3, 2. Vote ended. Kindly display the result, please.
100%. So, thank you very much, shareholders. I declare the motion carried. Item number 4 on the agenda is to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. The firm of Messrs. Ernst & Young, Chartered Accountants, have indicated their willingness to continue as auditors to the company. May I call on a shareholder to formally move the following: that the fee of Messrs. Ernst & Young, Chartered Accountants, who continue in office pursuant to the provision of Section 401 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, be fixed, and the directors are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the said auditors in respect of the financial statements for the year ending 31st March 2023, in compliance with Section 4081B of the Act.
I so do, sir. My name is Yekina Adisa. I move the motion as being directed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Seconder of the motion.
Thank you, sir. I second. My name is Mrs. Yu Bidei.
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 Yes. Okay. All those who are in favor of the resolution, vote again.
Voting, sir. So if you are in support of the remuneration of the auditor, you press 1. If you are against, you press 2. Voting commence. Ten seconds to go. 8, 7, 3, 2, 1. Please display the result.
100%. I declare the motion carried. Item number 5 on the agenda is to elect members of the Audit Committee. Your board has reappointed Mrs. F.B. Omoebo, Mr. F.T. Akingbe as its representatives on the committee. In the same vein, Alhaji S.B. Daranijo, Mr. Samuel Adekunle Adedoyin, and His Royal Highness Oba Yekini Olanrewaju Ajadi. They, representing the shareholders of the previous year, and have been nominated for appointment to represent the shareholders on the committee in accordance with Section 4046 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. In view of the absence of any counter motion to this, may I call on a shareholder to formally move the motion for the appointment of the members of the Audit Committee, that Mr. Femi Akingbe, Mrs. Omoebo, Alhaji S.B. Daranijo, Mr. Samuel Adekunle Adedoyin, His Royal Highness Oba Yekini Olanrewaju Ajadi, be and are hereby reappointed as Audit Committee members of the company for the 2022-2023 financial year.
Chairman, sir, I stand to move that motion. Abayomi Adebayo. Thank you.
May I have a seconder for the motion? Okay, Alhaji Tajuddin seconds the motion. Okay. So let's no vote on this one. Okay, so show of hands. Those who are in favor? Those who are against? I declare the motion carried. Number 6 on the agenda is the disclosure of the manager's remuneration. In accordance or in compliance with Section 257 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, we declare that the manager's remuneration as contained in the financial statements just laid before this meeting is 21.778 million. As contained on page 92. Okay. So this is just a disclosure. We don't need to vote on it. Okay. Then 7, special business or businesses. Item 7 on the agenda is to approve the increase in share capital. To be able to accommodate what we're doing, we need to, the bonus issue we're going to give, we need to do this. Pursuant to Section 127 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, and the directors having recommended, may I ask a shareholder to move the following formal motion: that the share capital of the company be and is hereby increased from the existing 375 million to 378 million by the creation of additional 6 million ordinary shares of 50 kobo each, ranking pari passu with the existing ordinary shares of the company, be and is hereby approved. That the relevant clause of the company's memorandum of association be and is hereby approved to be amended accordingly. Okay, may I have a seconder for the motion, please?
I, Peter Odusonya, I second the motion to increase the share capital of the company.
Okay. All those who are in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hands. And those who are against the motion, please signify. Oh,
Sorry, we need
we
to
have to vote?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, sir. So if you are in support of increase in the share capital, kindly press 1. If you are against, please press 2. Vote comments. Thank you. 10 minutes, 10 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Vote ended. Thank you. Result, please. Chairman, sir.
100%. Thank you. I thereby declare the motion carried. The next item is number 8 on the agenda and is to approve the bonus issue to the shareholders of the company. I ask a shareholder to move the following formal motion: that the sum of 75,600,000 being part of the general reserve of the company as at 31st March 2021 be capitalized, and accordingly the directors be and are hereby authorized to appropriate the said sum of 75,600,000 to the members on the register of members as at 31st March 2022 in proportion to the number of fully paid ordinary shares held by them respectively, and to apply the same on their behalf in paying up in full 151,200,000 ordinary shares, being the remaining unissued ordinary shares of 50 kobo each, and to allot and distribute such shares credited as fully paid to and among such members in proportion of the existing shareholding structure, and that such shares shall rank pari passu with the existing shares of the company. Be and is hereby approved. We need a motion on this. Can I call?
I so do. Olaniro Ismail Jimokuku.
Thank you. Any seconder?
I so second. Yakina Adisa is the name. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All those who are in favor? Oh, it's a poll also. All those who are in favor? Well, I mean, is there any problem with electronic voting? Let's vote. Let's vote.
Let's vote. Let's vote. But show of hand, but let's vote.
Let's vote. No problem. We've been advised. Let's.
Okay, if you are for approve of the bonus shares, kindly press 1. If you are against, press 2.
Have you started?
Yes, sir. Voting have started, sir. 10 seconds left. We have 8 seconds. 7, 5, 2, 1. Result, please. Chairman, sir.
100%. So it confirms the show of hands. I declare the motion carried unanimously. Item 9 on the agenda is to approve the remuneration of the directors. of the company for the year ending 31st March 2023. Pursuant to 2671 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, may I ask a shareholder to move the following motion: that an amount of 9.7 million being directors' fees proposed for the year ending 31st March 2023 be and are hereby approved. May I have a seconder?
I, it's Dr. Anthony Omoni Omojora, do propose the motion.
Okay. All those who are in favor?
Seconded by Mrs. CEO Obide.
Okay.
So we need to go through voting, sir.
Go through voting.
So if we are in support, press 1. If you are against, press 2. Who started? Press 1. If you are in support. If you are against, press 2.
Okay.
That's the result, sir.
100%. I declare the motion carried unanimously. That concludes the business of the meeting. Thank you all for attending. We appreciate you, and we assure you that forward ever, backward never. Thank you very much. Since we started with a prayer, I think you can help us end with a prayer.
Can you humbly stand up for closing prayer? In Jesus' name. Father, we thank you for having been the lead chairman of this occasion. Thank you for protection and guidance over all of us. We will continue to praise your holy name as you are always there for us, for the growth of our company, while giving wisdom and understanding for directors and management, while the shareholders, all investors and other stakeholders, we together will benefit your grace now and forevermore. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Thank you for answered prayer.
Oh, yes.